My wife used to call me checked out. Her boss built his empire, using my code with her help. At their office party, I dropped my security badge. He picked it up, saw my name, and his face went completely white. "Does your wife know who you really are?" he whispered. She knew. She just forgot what I could do. I'm David Chen, 50 years old. For 5 years, everyone assumed I was doing nothing. They were wrong. I was watching and planning. 13 years ago, I created DataCore, back-end infrastructure that powered half the online shopping platforms in America. Payment systems, inventory tracking, order fulfillment. I built it all in a tiny apartment with endless coffee and whiteboards full of diagrams. Scaled it up, sold for $340 million, and walked away quietly. No announcements, no celebrations, just out. Rachel, my wife of 26 years, loved the money but hated the quiet. She'd built her identity around being married to someone important, someone going places. When I stopped going places, she looked elsewhere for that energy. That's when Marcus Webb entered the picture, her new boss at TechStream Solutions, startup promising to revolutionize online retail with AI-powered commerce. He was loud, ambitious, always performing. Everything I wasn't anymore. Rachel loved it. 3 years back, TechStream moved into this gorgeous building downtown. Exposed brick, huge windows, the whole disruption aesthetic. What nobody knew is that I owned that building through a trust called Sentinel Holdings LLC. Registered in Delaware, managed remotely. The lease got signed by people who never connected the dots between David Chen and the property owner. Tonight was their annual party. Rachel insisted I come. "It'll be good for you," she said, which really meant she needed me there, so people knew she was still married. I went, stood in the corner with whiskey I didn't want, watching my wife laugh at Marcus's jokes, touching his arm, leaning in close. Our 3 kids weren't there. Ryan was traveling for work. Claire finishing her MBA finals. Tyler away at college. Just me. Invisible. That's when it happened. I shifted and my wallet slipped out, hit the floor hard. My building access badge slid across the polished marble. Marcus was right there, picking it up with his investor smile. He glanced at it casually, then froze completely. His eyes locked on the text. D. Chen. Sentinel Holdings. Owner access. The color drained from his face. His hands started shaking. He looked up at me with pure fear in his eyes. He stood slowly, holding the badge like it might explode. The party noise faded into background static. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. Then, barely audible, he whispered, "Sir, does your wife know who you are?" I held his stare. Didn't smile, didn't frown. Let the silence stretch until it got uncomfortable. Then I took the badge from his trembling hand and put it back in my wallet. "She knows exactly who I am," I said quietly. "Question is, do you?" Marcus stepped back like I'd pushed him. His eyes darted around, looking for escape, looking for Rachel, looking for anything that made sense. But nothing did anymore, because he'd just realized that he was playing on a board I owned. Rachel appeared with champagne, oblivious. "Everything okay?" she asked brightly. Marcus's voice came out strangled. "Fine, just need to make a call." He practically ran to the balcony, phone already out. Rachel turned to me, confused. "What was that about?" I sipped my whiskey. I think Marcus just remembered something important. She narrowed her eyes but didn't push. The music swelled, someone made a toast, the party continued, but the foundation had shifted. Rachel was quiet in the car, the uncomfortable kind of quiet. She scrolled through party photos while I drove through rain-slicked streets. "Marcus seemed off tonight," she finally said, not looking up. I kept my eyes on the road. "Did he?" "Yeah, like something spooked him." She glanced at me. "You didn't say anything to him, did you?" "We barely spoke." "David," her tone sharpened. "What happened when he picked up your wallet?" "He returned it, that's all." She went quiet again, studying me. "After 26 years, you learn to read the silences. This one had suspicion in it." We pulled into our Bellevue driveway. The house was dark and empty without the kids. Ryan in Chicago closing deals, Claire buried in Stanford finals, Tyler still at Boulder. Just us in 5,000 square feet that used to feel full. Rachel went straight upstairs without saying goodnight. I poured scotch and opened my laptop in the study. 3 urgent emails waited, all from law firms I'd never heard of. Marcus worked fast. First was a request for documentation on Sentinel Holdings ownership. Second asked about lease terms. Third, from TechStream's general counsel, politely inquired about building access protocols. I smiled. They were scrambling, trying to figure out if what Marcus saw was real, trying to find an angle. They wouldn't find one. I'd spent 5 years making sure of that. I opened a separate folder on my desktop. Inside were files I'd been collecting for 8 months. Code repositories, commit logs, architecture diagrams, all showing how TechStream's revolutionary platform was built on DataCore's foundation. Rachel had access to everything when we were married, back when I trusted her with my work. She'd downloaded documentation, saved schematics, kept copies of technical specs, said she wanted to understand what I'd built. She understood all right, understood it well enough to hand it to Marcus. I found the email chain from 3 years ago. Rachel to Marcus, attached files. The back-end frameworks my husband developed might be useful for reference. Marcus's response, "This is gold. Can we schedule a call?" They hadn't stolen code directly. Too smart for that. They'd reverse engineered it, rebranded it, wrapped it in prettier interface, called it innovation. But the bones were mine, the architecture, the logic patterns, the database structure, all mine. I closed the laptop and walked to the window. Rain drummed against the glass. Somewhere across the city, Marcus was probably still awake, making calls, trying to contain what he'd discovered. He couldn't. The foundation he'd built his company on wasn't his. It was mine, and I was about to prove it. Upstairs, I heard Rachel's phone buzz repeatedly. Then footsteps, quick and sharp. The calls were starting. I woke at 5:30 as always. Rachel's side was empty, sheets cold. Found her in the kitchen already dressed, phone to her ear. She ended the call when she saw me. "Marcus wants a meeting," she said. No good morning, no small talk. He says it's urgent. I poured coffee slowly. About what? He wouldn't say, just that it involves you. Her eyes searched my face. "David, what's going on?" "You should ask Marcus." "I'm asking you." I met her gaze over my cup. "When you gave Marcus my DataCore documentation 3 years ago, did you think I wouldn't find out?" The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." I set down my cup. "The back-end frameworks, the database architecture, the API specs, you emailed them to him. Marched to. Subject could be useful for reference." She stepped back. "I was just trying to help. He was struggling with their architecture, and I thought, you thought you'd hand him 12 years of my work?" My voice stayed level, which seemed to unsettle her more than yelling. "Did he pay you, or was it just about feeling important?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Rachel?" Her phone buzzed. Marcus's name. She didn't answer. TechStream built their entire platform on my architecture, I continued. Every major function. They didn't steal code directly, too smart for that. But they copied the foundation, rebranded it, called it innovation. You're paranoid. I have the commit logs, the repositories, your email chain with Marcus. I showed her my phone, her own words staring back at her. "This is gold," Marcus had written. She went pale. "Marcus said it was just inspiration, a reference point." "A reference point you never told me about." "You weren't interested. You retired, David. You walked away. What was I supposed to do? Stop living because you decided to? You were supposed to not give away what I built to someone who'd use it against me." Her phone rang again. Marcus, persistent. She answered, walking to the next room. I heard her voice rise, defensive at first, then frightened. When she came back, her hand was shaking. "He's being sued," she whispered. "Some IP firm out of Delaware filed papers this morning. Patent infringement, stolen architecture, breach of licensing. Marcus thinks you're behind it." "He's right. David, you can't do this." "I already did." I rinsed my cup. "The firm represents Sentinel Holdings, which is me. The building he's renting, the foundation his company's built on, all of it. Mine. This will destroy him. He destroyed himself building a company on stolen work. Our son works there." Her voice broke. "Ryan just got promoted. If TechStream goes under, he loses everything." That stopped me. Ryan, 25, sharp as they come. Worked his way up from analyst to senior strategist in 2 years. So proud when he got that job. "Ryan's smart," I said quietly. "He'll land on his feet. Not if his father destroys the company he works for." She moved closer. "Please, David, think about what this will do to our family." I looked at her. The woman I'd married 26 years ago, who'd stood beside me through early struggles, sleepless nights building data core. Somewhere along the way, she'd stopped being my partner. I am thinking about family, I said. I'm thinking about what you did to ours. Ryan called at noon. I was reviewing documents when his name lit up my screen. Dad, we need to talk. His voice was tight, controlled. About? About why my boss just got served with a lawsuit mentioning your name 17 times. I leaned back in my chair. You read the filing. Everyone in the office read it. Please tell me you're not doing what I think you're doing. What do you think I'm doing? Destroying TechStream because mom works there. This isn't about your mother. Then what? His frustration bled through. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're blowing up my career to make a point. It's about intellectual property theft. Marcus built his company on architecture I'd created, architecture your mother gave him without my consent. Silence. Then, Mom did what? I explained the emails, the documentation, the copied frameworks. Ryan listened without interrupting. How long have you known? He finally asked. 8 months. And you didn't tell me? Would you have believed me? Pause. I don't know. Marcus has been good to me, promoted me twice. He's not perfect, but he's not a thief. He is when he builds a business on someone else's foundation. Dad, people iterate on existing technology all the time. That's innovation. Not when they copy the entire architecture without permission or compensation. I heard him exhale slowly. What do you want me to do? Nothing. This isn't your fight. It is if my job disappears because of it. His voice hardened. I've worked my tail off for 2 years. I earned this. And now you're taking it away. Marcus took it away when he committed IP theft. No. Ryan's tone turned cold. You're taking it away because you can't stand that mom found something you don't control. That hit harder than expected. This isn't about control, isn't it? You sold your company, retired, disappeared. Mom moved on, found work she's good at, people who value her. And you can't handle it. Ryan, I have to go. Marcus is calling an emergency meeting. The line went dead. Claire called 3 days later. My middle child, 23, getting her MBA at Stanford. The only one who'd inherited my analytical mind and Rachel's diplomatic touch. Dad, we need to talk about what you're doing. Ryan called you. Ryan, Mom, and about 6 of Mom's friends who think you've lost your mind. She paused. Have you? Not yet. Then explain why you're destroying a company that employs your son and threatening Mom's career. I told her everything. The stolen architecture, the emails, the deception. Claire listened without interrupting. Okay, she said when I finished. So Mom screwed up massively and Marcus is a thief. But, Dad, there's something you need to know. What? I invested in TechStream. $50,000 from my trust fund last year when they opened Series B to family and friends of employees. My chest tightened. Claire? Mom said it was solid, breakthrough technology, strong fundamentals. I did my due diligence, looked at financials, product pipeline. It all checked out. Her voice wavered. I didn't know it was built on your work. Neither did the other investors. How much are you down if the company folds? Everything. $50,000, Dad. That was my safety net after graduation. I closed my eyes. Ryan's job, Claire's investment. Rachel had put both into a company built on stolen foundations. There's more, Claire continued. I've been analyzing TechStream's public filings for a class project. Dad, their latest presentation shows projected revenue of $200 million over 3 years, valuation at $450 million. That's impossible. Their platform can't scale that fast. It can if it's built on architecture that's already proven. Your architecture, she paused. Marcus isn't just using your work. He's betting the company's entire future on it, raising money based on technology he doesn't own. Who else invested? Pension funds, family offices, 3 major VCs, total raise of $90 million last round. Papers rustled. Dad, if you pull the IP claim, you're not just hurting Marcus. You're wiping out $90 million in investment capital. People will lose everything. People who invested in a fraud. People who didn't know it was fraud. Her voice hardened. Including your daughter. I stood, walked to the window. Rain was falling, turning the city gray. What would you have me do? Let them keep using my work? No, make them pay for it. Negotiate a licensing agreement, take revenue percentage, get a board seat. But don't destroy it. She hesitated. Ryan's getting married, Dad. That stopped me. What? He proposed to his girlfriend 2 weeks ago. Jennifer, the marketing director at TechStream. They met at work. Weddings next summer. Claire's voice softened. If you destroy the company, you destroy his career and his fiance's career. You'll be the reason his wedding falls apart. He didn't tell you because he knew you'd react exactly like this. Closed off, making decisions without considering how they affect anyone else. That's not fair, isn't it? You've been planning this 8 months and never once talked to us. Never asked how it might impact our lives. You just decided what was right and executed. She paused. Mom did the same thing when she gave Marcus those files. You're more alike than you think. That cut deeper than anything else. I need to think about this. Think fast. Tyler called me this morning. He's flying home tomorrow. Why? Because his family's imploding and he wants to fix it. Claire's voice cracked. We're all flying home, Dad, all 3 of us. We're going to sit down and figure this out like adults, with or without you. She hung up. Marcus requested a meeting through his attorney. Neutral ground, downtown law firm. Rachel insisted on coming. I didn't object. We arrived separately. Marcus was already there, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Kelly, sat beside him with folders that probably cost 6 figures to compile. Rachel took the seat across from Marcus. I sat at the head of the table. Thank you for coming, Patricia began. My client would like to... Save it, I said. Marcus can speak for himself. Marcus straightened. David, I wanted to apologize. When Rachel sent those files, I didn't realize what I was looking at. I thought they were general reference materials. You knew exactly what they were. I knew they were technical documentation. I didn't know they were proprietary architecture covered under licensing agreements. You responded, "This is gold," in your email. That doesn't sound like someone looking at reference materials. He flinched. Poor choice of words. I meant it would help us avoid mistakes by copying my exact methodology. Patricia intervened. Mr. Chen, my client is prepared to offer substantial compensation. Licensing agreement with retroactive payments, equity in TechStream, and a board seat. How substantial? She slid a paper across. I glanced at the number. 15 million plus 3% equity. That's what you think my work is worth? I asked. 15 million in pocket change? It's a starting point, Patricia said smoothly. We're open to negotiation. Here's my counteroffer. I leaned forward. You shut down TechStream, return all investor capital with interest, and Marcus publicly admits to IP theft. Marcus went pale. That would destroy my reputation. You destroyed it yourself. David, please. Rachel's voice cut through. Think about Ryan. Think about Claire's investment. I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about what it teaches them if their father lets someone steal his life's work without consequences. What about what it teaches them if their father destroys their futures for revenge? She shot back. Marcus spoke up, voice shaking. What if I step down? Resign as CEO, give up my equity, publicly state the company was built on licensed technology, licensed from you. We restructure with you as majority owner. You get control, I get nothing. He met my eyes, but the company survives. Employees keep their jobs, your son keeps his career. It was a better offer than I expected, smart even. Marcus would lose everything, but TechStream would continue under my control. There's one condition, I said. Name it. Rachel resigns immediately. No severance, no equity, no ties to the company. Rachel's head snapped up. What? You enabled this. Gave him the ammunition to build a fraud. Put our children's money and futures into it without telling me. I kept my eyes on Marcus. She leaves or the company dies, your choice. Marcus looked at Rachel, then back at me. His face hardened. I can't accept that, he said quietly. Then we're done here. Patricia tried to intervene, but I was already standing. Rachel grabbed my arm. David, you can't do this. Watch me. I walked out. Behind me, I heard Marcus's voice, low and defeated. I'll draft the resignation letter. Rachel's response was sharp, angry, but I didn't stay to hear it. I'd won, but somehow it didn't feel like victory. They all came home the next evening. Ryan from Chicago, Claire from Stanford, Tyler from Boulder. I heard them arrive, their voices mixing with Rachel's in the foyer. Strategy session voices. Tyler found me first. My youngest, 21, with Rachel's eyes and my stubborn streak. He didn't knock, just walked in and closed the door. Dad. Tyler. I moved to hug him, but he held up a hand. I'm not here for a hug. I'm here because my father's destroying our family, and someone needs to tell him he's being an idiot. That's direct. Yeah, well, I learned from the best. He dropped into the chair across from my desk. Claire filled me in on everything. The stolen architecture, Mom's emails, Marcus's fraud, all of it. Then you understand why I'm doing this. I understand why you're angry. I don't understand why you're taking a sledgehammer to everyone around you. He leaned forward. Ryan's engaged, Dad. To Jennifer. She works in TechStream's marketing. They met 2 years ago and fell in love at the company Christmas party. If you destroy TechStream, you don't just eliminate Ryan's career. You eliminate his relationship. He didn't tell you he was engaged because he knew you'd find a way to ruin it. Tyler's voice was sharp. You've been doing that a lot lately. That's not fair, isn't it? You've been planning this 8 months. 8 months, Dad. You had time to talk to us, to warn us, to give us a chance to protect ourselves. Instead, you decided we were collateral damage. I was trying to protect you from knowing your mother betrayed us. No. Tyler stood. You were protecting your ego. Mom screwed up, yeah, but instead of handling it like an adult, talking to her, going to therapy, finding a solution, you went nuclear. And now we're all paying for it. The door opened. Claire and Ryan walked in, united front. Claire carried a laptop. Ryan had a folder thick with papers. We're having a family meeting, Claire said, not asking. All of us, right now. We moved to the living room. Rachel was already there by the window, arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller than I'd seen her in years. Claire set up her laptop on the coffee table. I've spent 3 days analyzing TechStream's financials, investor documents, and code repository. Here's what I found. She pulled up a presentation. Slides full of numbers, charts, commit logs. Marcus's company is worth $450 million on paper, but 90% of that valuation is based on the back-end architecture. Dad's architecture. She clicked to the next slide. If you pull the IP claim, the company's worth drops to maybe $40 million, which means every investor, every employee stock option, every VC fund loses about 90%. That's not my problem, I said. It becomes your problem when those investors sue you, Ryan cut in. He opened his folder. I've been talking to TechStream's legal team. If you destroy the company through an IP claim, there's precedent for investors to sue the IP holder for tortious interference. I own the IP, but you waited 8 months to enforce it, during which time the company raised $90 million from investors who had no idea the technology was disputed. Ryan's voice was calm, professional. A good lawyer could argue you knowingly allowed fraud to continue, making you complicit. You could be liable for damages. I looked at him, my son, 25, using his business knowledge to threaten me. Are you seriously threatening to help investors sue your own father? I'm trying to save you from yourself. He met my eyes. Jennifer and I are getting married next June. I want you there, Dad. But if you destroy the company where we met, where we built our careers, where we're planning our future, I don't know if I can have you at the wedding. That hit like a punch. Tyler spoke up. Claire invested 50 grand. That's her entire safety net. Ryan's career's on the line. I'm a junior in college, and my last name is becoming a joke in tech circles. You know what it's like having classmates ask if your dad is the guy trying to destroy an innovative startup? It's not innovative if it's built on theft. Then make them pay for it. Claire's voice rose. License the technology, take a percentage, get board seats, but don't burn it down and take us with it. Rachel finally spoke, voice barely above a whisper. I was wrong, David. I know that now. I gave Marcus those files thinking I was helping, not realizing I was stealing from you. It was stupid and selfish. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. No, but maybe this does. She pulled out papers. I'm giving up my equity in TechStream, all of it, transferring it to you. And I'm resigning, effective immediately. Marcus already accepted my letter. I stared at her. When did you do this? This morning, after Marcus told me about your meeting. She set the papers on the table. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I won't let my mistake destroy our children's futures. The room was silent. 3 kids watching their parents waiting. Claire closed her laptop. Dad, Marcus offered to give you the entire company. Take it. Run it yourself. Put your name on it. Show the world you built the foundation, but don't destroy everyone who depends on it. Including your sister who invested her life savings, Ryan added. And your son who's getting married, Tyler finished. They'd coordinated this, rehearsed their arguments. They were good at it. I'd taught them well, maybe too well. I didn't sleep that night. Sat in my study until 3 a.m. reviewing everything. The documents, the code, the emails, my children's faces asking me to choose them over justice. At dawn, I called my attorney. Drop the papers, I said. I'm taking Marcus's offer. Full ownership transfer? Yes, but add one condition. Rachel's equity gets transferred to Claire, all of it. That's not what Marcus proposed. It's what I'm proposing. Rachel gives up her stake, Claire gets it back plus interest. And I want a public statement from Marcus acknowledging the IP theft. The papers were ready by noon. I called Marcus, told him to meet me at Sentinel Holdings' main office. Not his territory, not neutral ground, mine. He arrived with his attorney. Rachel came too, though I hadn't asked her to. We sat in the conference room overlooking downtown, papers spread across the table. Everything's here, Patricia said. Ownership transfer, equity distribution changes, the public statement. You sign, Marcus signs, and TechStream becomes yours. Marcus looked at Rachel. You're really giving up everything. It's the right thing to do, Rachel said quietly. Your wife's equity goes to Claire, I told Marcus. Her investment gets paid back tenfold when this company succeeds. Consider it restitution. Marcus nodded slowly. Fair enough. Anything else? One more thing. I slid a final document across. This is a termination letter for you. Marcus's face went white. You said if I signed, I could stay on as advisor. I lied. I kept my voice level. You built a company on stolen work, lied to investors, manipulated my wife into being complicit. You don't get to walk away with a consulting gig. You get nothing but your name on a public admission of fraud. Patricia started to object, but Marcus raised his hand. It's fine. He looked at me, something like respect in his eyes. I deserve it. Yes, you do. He signed every page. When he was done, he stood and offered his hand. I didn't take it. My son works for you, I said. Ryan Chen. Make sure he's treated well under new management. Your son? Marcus's face registered surprise, then understanding. I didn't know. He never said. He shouldn't have to. He earned his position. He did. He's one of the best strategists we have. Marcus paused at the door. For what it's worth, David, I really did think the work was abandoned. That doesn't excuse what I did, but I didn't set out to steal from you. Yes, you did. You just didn't think I'd notice. He left without another word. Rachel stood. What happens now? Now you move out. I'll have my attorney draw up separation papers. David, 26 years, Rachel. We had 26 good years. Then you chose career advancement over our marriage. I could forgive a lot, but not that. She nodded, eyes wet. The kids will understand eventually. I softened slightly. I'm not keeping them from you, but I can't live with someone who valued ambition over family. I never valued ambition over family. You gave our daughter's money to a fraud, put our son's career at risk. Did it all for equity in a company you knew was built on my work. I stood. That's the definition of valuing ambition over family. She left quietly. No arguments, no tears, just acceptance. Patricia gathered her papers. You'll need to address the employees, announce the transition. Schedule it for tomorrow. I want Ryan in the room when I do it. Understood. She paused. This was the right call, Mr. Chen. Then why does it feel like I lost? She smiled sadly. Because you're a father before you're a businessman. That's not a weakness. 3 months later, TechStream was running smoother than ever. I'd restructured operations, brought in new management, steered toward legitimate innovation. Ryan stayed on, got another promotion, slowly started speaking to me again. Claire's investment had already doubled. Tyler came home for Thanksgiving. Rachel moved to a condo downtown. We'd signed divorce papers 2 weeks after the ownership transfer. 26 years ended with signatures and lawyers' handshakes. She didn't fight for alimony, didn't contest the settlement, just took what was fair and left. The kids split their time between us. Holidays were awkward, but we managed. I was in my office at TechStream when my receptionist buzzed. Mr. Chen, there is someone here to see you. Says it's personal. Who? Her name is Rebecca Morgan. I didn't know any Rebecca Morgan. Send her in. The woman who walked through my door was about 50, well-dressed, carrying herself with confidence. Dark hair streaked with gray, eyes that looked oddly familiar. Mr. Chen? She extended her hand. Thank you for seeing me without an appointment. I don't think we've met. We haven't. But we have a connection you don't know about. She sat without being invited. 28 years ago, you dated a woman named Lisa Morgan. You were together 2 years before you met Rachel. The name hit me like cold water. Lisa, my college girlfriend, the one I'd loved before Rachel. We'd broken up when I moved to Seattle for a startup job, lost touch completely. What about Lisa? I asked carefully. Lisa was my sister. Rebecca's voice was steady. She passed away 4 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry, I didn't know. No reason you would. You two hadn't spoken in decades. She opened her purse, pulled out an envelope. Before she died, Lisa gave me this, made me promise to deliver it if I ever had the chance. I took the envelope, my name in handwriting I barely remembered. She also asked me to tell you something. Rebecca met my eyes. You have a son. His name is Nathan Morgan. He's 27 years old. The room tilted. What? Lisa found out she was pregnant 3 weeks after you moved to Seattle. She tried to call, but your number had changed. She wrote letters, but you'd moved apartments. Rebecca's voice softened. Then she saw an announcement in a tech magazine. You and Rachel, newly engaged. She decided not to interfere. She was pregnant with my child and didn't tell me. She tried, David. But you moved on, and she didn't want to be the woman who trapped you with a baby when you'd found someone else. My hands were shaking. Why are you telling me this now? Because Nathan deserves to know his father, and because Lisa's dying wish was that you two meet. Rebecca stood. He doesn't know I'm here, doesn't know I tracked you down, but he knows about you. Lisa told him everything before she passed. Where is he? Boston. He's a software engineer, works for a cybersecurity firm, smart kid, has your eyes, Lisa's determination. She handed me a business card. That's his email and phone number. Whether you reach out is up to you. She left before I could ask more questions. I sat there holding the envelope and the card. A son. I had another son, 27 years old, who'd grown up without me. While I was building DataCore, raising Ryan, creating a life with Rachel, somewhere in Boston a boy was growing up wondering about his father. I opened the envelope, Lisa's letter, dated 3 years before she died. David, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I want you to know I never regretted keeping Nathan. He was the best thing in my life. But I always regretted you never got to know him. He's brilliant, kind, and stubborn, just like you. Please, if Rebecca finds you, give him a chance. He deserves a father. You deserve a son who chose to find you. Lisa. I picked up my phone, stared at Nathan's number. 27 years. I'd missed his entire life, but maybe I didn't have to miss the rest of it. I dialed. 8 months later, Ryan stood at the altar in a vineyard outside Seattle. Jennifer beside him in a beautiful dress. The ceremony was traditional, everything a wedding should be. Rachel sat 3 rows behind me with her new boyfriend, some consultant she'd met at a networking event. We'd exchanged polite nods before the ceremony, nothing more. The divorce had been finalized 4 months ago. Tyler sat to my left, Claire to my right. And on Claire's other side, Nathan Morgan, my son, meeting his half-siblings for the first time at a wedding. It had taken 3 months of phone calls before Nathan agreed to meet me in person. Coffee in Boston. Awkward and tentative. He looked like Lisa, but had my jawline, my hands. We talked for 4 hours about his childhood, his mother, the questions he'd always had. I told him about DataCore, about building something from nothing, about how I wished I'd known, how I would have been there. He didn't forgive me right away, but he didn't shut me out either. She made me promise not to contact you, he'd said that day. Mom said you had your own family, your own life. She didn't want to complicate it. She should have told me anyway. Maybe. But she did what she thought was right. He'd looked at me across that coffee shop table. I'm not looking for a father, David. I'm 27. I raised myself. But I'm willing to get to know the man who gave me half my DNA. That was 8 months ago. Since then, we'd talked every week. He met Claire first, then Tyler. Ryan had been harder to convince, still processing everything with TechStream, his parents' divorce. But eventually he'd agreed to meet his older half-brother. Now they were all here at Ryan's wedding, a family reassembled from broken pieces. The reception was at the same vineyard. Ryan and Jennifer's first dance, speeches from friends, Claire's toast that made everyone cry. I stayed toward the back, nursing whiskey, watching my children laugh together. Nathan approached holding a beer. Hell of a party. Ryan did well for himself. So did you. He gestured toward the dance floor where all three of my children were dancing together. They're good people. Their mother raised them well. So did mine. He took a drink. Look, I know this is weird, me being here, meeting everyone like this, but Claire invited me and I figured it was time. I'm glad you came. We stood in comfortable silence, watching the party. Then Nathan said, Lisa left me letters, one for every birthday she knew she'd miss. I opened the one for my 27th last month. What did it say? That she hoped I'd found you, that she hoped you were everything she remembered. He looked at me. She said you were the most honest man she'd ever met, that you built things instead of taking them, that you fought fair and loved hard. She was generous. She was honest. He finished his beer. I don't need a father, David, but I could use a friend who understands what it's like to build something from nothing. Someone who gets that sometimes the foundation matters more than the finish. I understood. He was offering me a relationship on his terms. Not son and father, but two men who shared DNA and history, figuring out what that meant. I'd like that, I said. Later, as the party wound down, Ryan found me. His tie was loose, jacket gone, the happiest I'd seen him in years. Thanks for coming, Dad. Wouldn't have missed it. I mean it. After everything that happened, I wasn't sure you'd show up. He glanced toward Nathan, who was talking with Tyler. Or that you'd bring him. He's your brother, half-brother who I just met 6 months ago. Ryan shook his head. Our family's complicated. Most families are. Yeah, but ours is like a tech startup. Failed first version, massive pivot, and now we're trying to scale the rebuild. He smiled. Think we'll make it? I think we'll try. That's all anyone can do. He hugged me, quick and tight, then went back to his bride. I left soon after, driving home alone to the house that used to hold the family. Claire had moved to San Francisco for a job. Tyler was back at Boulder. Ryan had his own life now. But I had Nathan's number on my phone. TechStream was thriving under my leadership, and somewhere in the city, Rachel was building a new life too. I'd won the war against Marcus, lost my marriage, found a son I never knew existed, and somehow ended up with a family that looked nothing like what I'd planned, but felt more honest than anything I'd built before. 12 months ago, I'd dropped a badge at a company party. That single moment had unraveled everything and rebuilt it into something I didn't recognize. But standing in my quiet house, looking at photos of 4 children instead of 3, I realized something. Sometimes you have to burn the foundation to discover what's really holding you up. And sometimes that's exactly what you need.